There we go. We're live. What's up, you puckers? By the way, I got clearance from Ashton. We're supposed to use that all the time now because he thinks it's hilarious.
Okay, nice.
Sorry, the lighting's a little bit crappy in here because I am in my bedroom currently. Normally, I normally do this in the living room, although the walls are the same color. But that said, the big news so far: the Rangers roar back in the third with 3 goals from Chris Kreider to finish that series out. I did not see that coming. I thought once they were up 2, I thought that was going to be it. But man, that was a crazy finish. Hi, Kat. Get off of my computer. Thank you.
Yeah,
that was a very, very, very crazy finish for the Rangers and the Hurricanes. Sorry, I'm just trying to share on my Facebook page. You're
good. Yeah, definitely saw Carolina pulling through on that one.
Yeah, I definitely thought they had it already. But I thought they had that game. I didn't think Carolina was going to win after going down 3 games.
Right.
It's harder than anything else in sports. Being down that bad. I also didn't think Peter Laviolette was going to be the first coach in NHL history to win after being down 3 games and then turn around and lose after being up 3 games.
Right. Yeah, definitely not.
I just think he's way too good of a coach for that. Kind of mad he coaches the Rangers. I kind of wanted him in Jersey years ago, but
yeah, things
don't always work out.
Right.
But last night, your Stars showed some resiliency in a losing effort. That was a really good game, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, you can't look. We had our hopes up, but you can't expect the Stars to beat one of the best teams in hockey 4 nights in a row.
No. And Colorado's a much younger team. The big difference is you guys are just more balanced. You guys you guys can roll out 4 lines. Colorado's got Zach Parise, who is stumbling over his own feet right now.
Right.
Although he did play well at the end of the game last night.
We lost hints for a little bit, so we'll see what that looks like on a return.
They give an update on that injury at all?
No, just that he's out getting some tests ran.
That's like Brad Marchand. They're not going to tell us what's wrong with him.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we all saw Brad Marchand get punched in the jaw.
Right.
And, get all blurry-eyed like, ooh. Yeah, he's got a damn concussion, guys.
So that's a pretty interesting series as well over there.
Oh, it's a great series. I don't know if you've been watching. I know Work's got you bent over a barrel a lot of these days. But there has not been a game in that series where a team was just out of it. It's just, quite frankly, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's fun to watch. It's honestly fun to watch. What did the Avs scored an empty netter last night too, right, to end it?
Yeah.
That series. Let's look at what's the scores of that series? What have they been? They've been 1-2 goal games realistically, if you don't count the empty netters.
Yeah, there was the 5-1 two games ago, but
that's right. I honestly think, that's right, because of it was right after the Nichushkin news dropped, which, by the way, they could have handled that way better. If your team's leading goal scorer is going to be suspended from the league for 6 months,
right,
his teammates should probably find out in a manner that isn't 2 hours before the game, while you're already at the rink.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I truly hope the guy does recover. In all honesty, he's a great hockey player, but he failed a drug test again. And this would be his 3rd failed drug test. And it's got to be something crazy because the NHL doesn't test for marijuana because it's legal in so many states now.
You're right.
And I don't really think they ever really tested for it because it doesn't really do anything for your performance. I'm thinking just knowing hockey players and having seen pictures of people's hotel rooms during the Stanley Cup championship celebration among teammates with, interesting white powder on the dresser in the background. Right. I'm thinking it's probably that, or he's a hockey player. He's sustained a bunch of injuries. It could be the painkillers.
Yeah.
Either way, I just want to say, like, from the bottom of my heart, I wish him the best, and I hope he gets whatever he needs, and I hope he comes back to the NHL. But I honestly think this might do it for him. He might just book back to Europe.
Probably so.
Because, like, he's suspended 6 months without pay. I mean, it's not like he's poor. It's not. I mean, he's got to have money sitting around after how many years of being in the NHL. Just shame to see such a quality player like that.
Absolutely.
Takes away from the series too. But I mean, the last night, the Avs, they looked like the Avs. I thought there was 2 or 3 times in that game that you guys kind of had a little bit of a defensive lapse and kind of forgot that, it's still the Avalanche, even though you guys were on cruise control the game before.
Right.
Other than that, Stars look good. Ottinger looked pretty good. Your team with their back up against the wall, the hardest game to win is always the fourth one.
Right.
And you had to know the Avs weren't going to roll over. And the Bruins aren't rolling over either right now after that win the other night as well. Last night was kind of a light night of hockey, which, I'm sure you Stars fans enjoyed being the major spotlight of everything.
Oh, gosh.
That said, before I forget, I'm going to touch on something non-hockey. Did you see the Giants uniforms they've released that are for they're awful.
Oh, man.
They're absolutely awful. Google it right now and throw it up on screen so everybody can see it. But it's a mishmash of jerseys, not jerseys, but of uniform pieces from the last 100 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
So it looks like something a 7-year-old would make in Madden. Like, ooh, the Giants wore this jersey in 1927. They wore these pants in 1938. They wore this helmet in 1945. It's a mishmash of train wreck. And I only bring that up because our teams play on Thanksgiving this year, and I don't think I've ever seen that happen before.
Right. That'll be interesting.
I don't think at least not in my memory, I don't remember the Giants playing on Thanksgiving in my lifetime. I mean, they might have. They've been around 36 years. A couple of those years are itty-bitty. You don't really remember anything.
Right.
But it should be interesting. It should be interesting this year. Now back to hockey. We got the Panthers Bruins series. I think whoever's going to come out of that is going to have an easier time than they realize. There was an article, I forget who wrote it today, talking about no matter who wins, might actually even been the New York Times it was in, or the Post. I just saw it online. But they said no matter who wins this series between the Canes and the Rangers, they lose because they beat the living daylights out of each other this series.
Right.
The only series I think's been more physical has got to be that Boston Florida series, which is what the NHL wanted. With the whole restructuring. Have divisional rivals play in the playoffs, makes for better TV ratings.
What's your take on what's going on in Edmonton right now?
Which part of what's going on in Edmonton? You got to be a little more specific.
Well, obviously, we're talking hockey, so we're talking the series.
I think that's actually probably the most evenly matched series so far. Neither team can really run away with anything in any of these games. I still think Edmonton's going to take the series because I think if they don't, it's that's Titans for McDavid not requesting a trade.
Yeah.
And it'll be, what was that, 1990, was it 90, 91 when Edmonton shipped Wayne Gretzky to LA. It'll be something of that level. I can't think. My buddy Chris, who hopped on and subbed for you last week. Oh, by the way, welcome back. Who hopped on and subbed for you last week? Said we were talking earlier, and he goes, I think there's going to be a 3-way trade between, I think it was Toronto, the Rangers, and I forget and the Oilers, with McDavid going to the Rangers, Marner ending up in the Oilers, and then Adam Fox and I forget who the second one was, ending up in Toronto, which I thought was a kind of a crazy scenario. I don't see how all those teams make those cap numbers work.
Long-term
McDavid,
injury reserve.
Oh man, they're meeting to talk about this summer. If you didn't hear that yet, I think that might be going the way of the dodo, man.
Oh wow.
I think there's going to be a significant change in the offseason. What I'd like to see happen is your roster on any given day can't exceed the regular season salary cap.
Yeah.
So you can't bury a guy, especially a guy like Mark Stone, or when the Lightning did it with Nikita Kucherov. You can't bury a guy and then bring him back game 1 of the playoffs and go, oh, he's better now.
Yeah, I mean, especially, that being 3 years in a row, doing the same thing year after year. It really doesn't even make a whole lot of sense to say, okay, well, you need to meet this metric all season long, but once the playoffs here, all bets are off. Do whatever you want. It doesn't matter anymore.
It was meant to, allow a team that lost a player in the beginning of the season to, pick up a player without having to drop a player to through waivers. And teams figured out how to weaponize it. Vegas has had a couple of smart GMs who the first one was George McPhee was their first one, I believe. He managed to weaponize because it was the first time in history that teams were allowed to trade. Like, hey, you don't take this player, you take this player, and we'll give you this draft pick or this on top of it to protect extra players. And Vegas just got lucky that they were able to build a team that's, not the Columbus Blue Jackets. Which brings us to something we needed to talk about. What the hell is wrong with Johnny Gaudreau?
Right. I mean, just those sites in Columbus are very tantalizing to him. He wants to make his way over there.
Oh, the sites in Columbus. What's he got to go see? The boat in the Scioto River, an Ohio State football game.
There is good food in Columbus. Nation. Best McDonald's in the nation out there.
It's the home of Wendy's, man. Columbus is the birthplace of Wendy's. Right. You get Wendy's. I lived in Columbus, and I still eat the Wendy's.
Speaking of Wendy's, is it time to plug your Frosty?
No, my Frosty. Which Frosty? The one that's in my freezer still?
Yeah, probably that one.
Oh, Ben Holloway says, what's up? And how about them Rangers? What's up, Ashton? Glad you could join us. Plug my Frosty. No, I'm not eating it yet. I have fries to dip in it in a little bit.
Nice.
But, Johnny Gaudreau, his last season in Calgary, I have these numbers here somewhere. Actually, nope, they're gone. His last season in Calgary, he had more goals and more points than he's had these last 2 seasons in Columbus. So here we go. I got it pulled up here from the NHL, his stats. So this year, Johnny Gaudreau scored 12 goals, had 48 assists for 60 points, which quite frankly isn't horrible in the NHL. He was a negative 27, but let's compare that to, his last year with the Flames. He played 56 games. Oh, I'm sorry. He played 82 games his last year with the Flames, had 40 goals, 75 assists for a 115, and he was a plus 64 that season.
Right. Mm-hmm.
2022, 2023, he had 21 goals, 53 assists. At least he's, still scoring 20 there, but he was still a negative 33.
Yeah.
And then this year, he dropped off again, 12, 48, 60, negative 27.
Right.
I know they don't have a large amount of I know they don't have a large amount of talent there, but I mean, he's playing with Line. Like something's not clicking. I think at this point, the Blue Jackets, because they're going to have a new GM again, another new coach. I think what you do if you're the new GM there, you walk up to Johnny and go, "Hey, man, this team ain't going anywhere before you're too old."
Right.
Because where they're at right now, they're in a division with the Devils, the Rangers, the Flyers, the Hurricanes. Who are they gonna? Which one of any of those teams are they gonna leapfrog with the talent on those teams? The Devils had a bad year this year. Is what it is. It happens. You have a slump year. Our goaltending was the worst in the league. If we got league average goaltending, I think LeBrun said it best. If the Devils had league average goaltending, they'd be in the Eastern Conference Finals right now.
Right.
So I think that's where the Devils are going to address the season. But landing spots for Gaudreau, I would think Dallas would be one that you guys, if you made the right phone call, because you guys have the draft capital still, and you're an aging roster, so you'd have to try to hold on to your young guys. But I feel like he would fit in pretty well there, because he's used to playing with the Matthew Tkachuk on his with him, and having a bigger body, physical guy who can score. So putting him on a line with like Jamie Benn, I think would be like perfectly familiar for a guy like Johnny Gaudreau. Ashton says there's something to be said about going to a city with one pro sports team, not counting Ohio State. All right, bud. Ohio State's not exactly a pro sports team. I mean, all college sports are now technically pro sports teams, especially at the bigger schools. But yeah, the way it's going out east right now. Crap, I forgot what I was saying there. I got distracted because I laughed at Ashton's comment.
We were talking about Gaudreau.
Johnny Gaudreau.
What if they shift him over to the Red Wings?
That actually might not be a bad. Well, no, Red Wings are still Eastern Conference. I don't think they'll trade him anywhere. They're going to have to see him.
Gotcha.
Multiple times a year, more than I think they'll ship him somewhere west. He does have a full no movement clause, so he'll have to approve everywhere. So that'll kind of handcuff what they're going to get in return because teams know that.
Would there be anything blocking him from going to Utah?
Other than him? I don't think he'll want to go to Utah.
Yeah. I mean, it's Utah.
Well, I think Utah's beautiful, but his whole reasoning for going to Columbus over the New Jersey Devils and the Philadelphia Flyers was he wanted to be close enough to family to visit, but not so close where they could just show up at his house unannounced.
Gotcha.
Okay. I completely understand that mindset. And, Columbus, he's from Salem, New Jersey, which is South Jersey, probably about 40 minutes outside of Philadelphia-ish, depending on traffic. It is literally the middle of the year. Middle of nowhere. I really got to figure out how to make those texts stop coming through on my computer. They're so distracting. Salem, New Jersey really is the middle of nowhere. Have you ever heard of the Pine Barrens or the New Jersey Devil? Like that historic legend, it's from that area of New Jersey.
Oh, okay, nice.
Slightly north of that, but yeah, that's all that area. So him going to Philly, his parents will be 45 minutes away. He goes to the Devils. His parents are an hour and 10 minutes away. Right. Columbus, 7 hours.
Yeah,
they're not going to show up unannounced. You know what I mean? They're not just going to be there
for sure.
Also, have you had a chance? I know we're not really supposed to plug other networks here, but I'm going to plug this one. Did you see the Joe Sakic 30 for 30? Yeah.
No, I haven't got a chance to dive into it yet.
Oh man, that one is so good. I recommend that to everybody out there. It's a story of how Joe Sakic was almost a New York Ranger.
Okay, nice.
So I forget what year it was, but Sakic was still an RFA. And the New York Rangers signed him to a 3-year, $21 million offer sheet that included a $15 million signing bonus.
Wow.
And so here's the fun part. Harrison Ford is the reason Joe Sakic stayed in Colorado.
Oh, nice.
Interesting. It was I forget because Ascent Entertainment owned the ads at the time. They still probably do. I don't follow ownership that tightly. And I forget which Harrison Ford movie it was. Might have been like Air Force One or something.
Uh-huh.
That just blew up, and all of a sudden Ascent was flush with cash, and they just matched it and gave Joe Sakic the exact same thing the Rangers were going to give him.
Oh, nice.
When every NHL pundit at the time was like, there's absolutely no way they can come close to matching that.
Yeah.
Which even I was probably like 9-10 years old at the time. I even was like, well, the Rangers have spent, the last 5 years of my life buying our players. Looks like they're doing it to Colorado now.
Right.
That brings up, like some of those weird free agent signings that don't work out. And I think the Rangers are the kings of that. Between Scott Gomez. If nobody remembers the website, didscottgomezscoreyet.com. It was honestly probably the funniest hockey-related website that I can ever remember existing. It was literally just a counter that had the days since he scored, like down to the minute, and the word "no" on top.
Oh man!
Because he went like two full calendar years or something like that without scoring a goal.
That's crazy.
Bobby Holik, I don't know if you remember him from the Devils, the one with the forehead that kind of stuck out from the helmet.
Yeah,
big ugly oak dude. Rangers paid him a buttload of money to go there. Bruce Driver was over the hill. The Rangers paid him a buttload of money to go there.
Right.
Eric Lindros, after post-concussion, completely useless. They paid him a buttload to go there. Trying to think of who else was dumb free agent signings for them. The Oilers have had a couple. Sheldon Surrey didn't work out for them when they signed him. The Devils have had a couple too. Michael Ryder wasn't really the best pickup to try to replace Ilya Kovalchuk, who, by the way, didn't officially announce it today, but said he's pretty sure he's retiring and is trying to go into management or coaching in the NHL.
Okay.
Where do you think he would fit? Who's got the most Russians in their locker room right now?
Ooh, it's a good question.
Or who's got the right Russians in the locker room might be the better question.
Right.
Yeah, I know him and Bobrovsky down in Florida are real good buds.
Uh-huh.
Him and Panarin, I think, are friends. Him and Ovechkin are friends. You just got to think of the Russian players that are around his same age.
Right.
That he would have played in the Olympics with. Because I know he didn't make a lot of friends with the American fan bases when he pulled his duck and run to Russia move, the retirement.
Yep.
If you can't tell, I'm still mad.
Yeah.
Like I'd name my dog after the guy, and then he ducks 2 years later. What a jerk.
Yeah. What a horrible person.
So NHL coaching carousel. Devils, we need a coach. Travis Green went up to Ottawa, which good for him. I think that'll be a good place for him to grow. I don't think he is the right guy to lead the Devils right now. I think the Devils made a mistake last year, not sending Lindy to the front office, like making him like VP of President Operations or something.
Right.
But so here's the teams that right now need coaches. Actually, we can add another team to that because they lost tonight. LA needs a coach. The Devils need a coach. The Sharks need a coach. Seattle needs a coach. Toronto needs a coach. Winnipeg needs a coach. And depending on what Rod Brindamore does, because he doesn't have a contract right now, he might need the Carolina Hurricanes might need a new coach. Although I really don't see them not signing him to another long-term deal. I think it was more they were in a deep fight to get into the playoffs, and then we're fighting in the playoffs.
I think when we're talking about Brind'Amour, I think it's important to understand and realize this fact. Last year in the playoffs, they may have lost 4 games straight, but they did not get swept by Florida.
That is true.
They did not get swept.
Very true. So the top, what they have for the top, which I don't necessarily disagree with. There's a couple on this list that I'm like, I wouldn't be a guy I would really want running. But top options for open roles are Rod Brind'Amour, Craig Berube, Sheldon Keefe, Jay Woodcroft, Bruce Boudreau, Todd McMillan, Daryl Sutter. I guess he's coming back to coaching. Gerard Gallant, Dean Evanson, Claude Julien, Dave Haxtell, who, if nobody knows Dave Haxtell, he coached the Flyers for a couple of seasons, but he's most famous for his time at the University of North Dakota, where he absolutely manhandled college hockey for about 10, 12 years. Okay. Then we got Mr. Granato. Donnie Granato is up again. And then here's some dark horses. And there's one on this list that I actually like. Steve Ott, assistant coach for the St. Louis Blues. And if you haven't seen the video of his son taking his shirt off mid-game and being on the Jumbotron while Steve's watching it and giggling, all you dads out there, it's a really funny dad moment.
Nice.
I think Steve Ott would be a good fit for some of these kids in New Jersey. Only because he's kind of a no-nonsense guy, but you can also get him to crack a smile. And I think that's kind of the type of guy the Devils need right now. Like Lindy Ruff, I thought was too laid back. He didn't none of it. Even last year when the Devils had our best season points wise since we've been a team, they got behind in almost every freaking game because they didn't come out ready to play.
Yeah.
And this year it cost them a playoff run. Right. A couple of the other ones, Ryan, that's a tough name to pronounce. Ryan Warsofsky. Okay. Assistant with San Jose. I honestly don't know much about him. Jay Leach, great player, great two-way player back in the day. He's an assistant with Seattle, so it'd be interesting to see if they want to promote him. Mike Babcock, there's a good one who's available. And the one that nobody talks about because he hasn't applied for reinstatement yet is Joel Quenneville. That whole Chicago thing kind of blew up on him. Even though it wasn't him who was doing what was going on, he oversaw lack of institutional control, as the NCAA would call it. Right. I could see him applying for reinstatement in the next couple of years, but if we're going to play, the mix and match game here, like you used to draw the lines in those elementary school, like this word is this, or when you had Spanish class and it was boligrafo, you had to draw a line to the pen.
Right.
If I'm drawing lines here, I think Brind'Amour stays put. I think Sheldon Keefe ends up with the Devils. That's the rumblings I'm hearing around New Jersey. I'd rather have a Craig Berube. I think you're gonna see Steve Ott stay put on St. Louis unless they decide to fire him. I think it's gonna have to be somebody young who's going to be willing to take on that roster. Let's go Jay Woodcroft for San Jose. I feel like that's a good mix there, a good fit. Young guy. I went blank there for a minute. And then this is where it gets tough is Seattle. Who do they want to bring in? Because they've had some success. Seattle, guy like Daryl Sutter seems like a good fit.
Right.
And I'm all but certain Craig Berube is going to Toronto. And And then the Jets.
They talked about bringing their assistant up.
Yeah, that's probably their best move, in all honesty, because I don't see anybody here that's going to fit with that Jets roster. Maybe McClellan does. Boudreaux, no. Claude Julien, maybe. But I don't see anybody there that's going to be able – and I don't think, the Jets are looking for a quick little transition coach. I think the Jets are really looking for a coach that's going to drag them deep and get over that hump they need to get over.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to close that. Oh, well. Where is it? There it is. I don't know why I closed it the way I did. Outside of that, we got all the coaching changes coming. The big thing I think that's going to take over the entire offseason is what the heck is going to happen with Steven Stamkos. In my brain, there's only 2 locations I see him going, unless he takes like a massive, massive pay cut because he loves Florida that much. He loves being in Tampa. I mean, he could. There is no state income tax in Florida, so he'll, that alone is for someone making millions, not a small chunk of change. But I see him going to either Toronto or the Rangers.
Yeah.
He's been linked to Toronto his entire career. Toronto kid, go figure. Maybe he plays in Toronto to end it.
Right.
But that's one of those players. It'll be weird to see him in a different jersey. Like you and Mike Modano. How'd that feel, seeing him in a Red Wings jersey?
Yeah,
that's where he went.
That was a little odd, for sure.
Or Marty Brodeur in a Blues jersey.
Right.
That one blew my mind. I'm like, oh man, is he really? That said, I'm pretty sure Tom Fitzgerald of the New Jersey Devils is on the hot seat come this season. Because according to reports here, Marty is barking for the GM job. And quite frankly, after everything he's done for this team, give it to him. Unless Fitz goes far next year, and then Marty, maybe he stays happy with the assistant GM job. But I foresee Marty, if it's not in the next 5 years, because his daughter just graduated college yesterday. So I don't think he's got many ties keeping him right here in Jersey anymore.
Right.
Outside, he's lived here 30-ish years, give or take.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's begging for a GM job. There's a couple of other guys I think who could step into a spot like that. That might be Rod Brindamore's thing, is Rod might want to be building a team versus just standing behind a bench.
Right.
That could also be why he doesn't have a contract. Oh, Edmonton! I just looked up. Edmonton's up 1-0 in a tied series. This one should be good because no matter who wins this series, the other city's going to burn themselves down.
Right.
We've seen Vancouver do it twice now. Once in '94 and then once in 2011.
Right.
Burn the whole damn city down because the Canucks lost. Makes a ton of sense.
Serious business over there.
I mean, it is. But Toronto is the biggest team in Canada. They don't burn that city down every time the Maple Leafs lose. Although if they did that, I'm not sure they'd have a city left because
it's just a constant
every year.
Just a constant somebody lighting the fire every year. All right, you're next.
Yeah, it's like the Olympic torch. They just pass the torch around.
Right.
It's kind of like your Cowboys there.
Oh,
this is our year.
Oh, it is.
All right.
You watch.
No way. You honestly think it's your year this year?
Every year is our year. Okay.
I mean, that's fair.
That's how it starts.
That's as a Giants fan, same. My favorite's the Jets fans. That's something we got to talk about. So, do yourself a favor. Look up Look up who snapped Rodgers' Achilles last season. And then look up the name of the player specifically on the tackle. I believe his name is Leonard Brown.
Leonard Floyd.
Floyd, that's it. Where does he play this year?
Good question. At the time, he was the Buffalo.
Yeah. Now where does he play?
Not sure on that one, bud.
San Francisco. Who do the Jets play to open their season on Monday Night Football?
I would assume,
just like last season.
I would assume San Francisco.
Yep.
Nice. Interesting.
My favorite meme going around the internet right now is Aaron Rodgers' other Achilles has the chance to do the funniest thing on the planet. Mm-hmm. But it's crazy that they did that.
Yeah, right.
Ashton said, "Go Cowboys." Nah, go Giants, man. Giants did well in the offseason, but we're a hockey podcast. We can touch on the Giants and the Cowboys. How you feel about your Cowboys in their offseason?
Man, they're going to be amazing. All right, they're just prepping.
You're such a homer.
Ready for a monster series, monster season. It's going to be greatness, pure greatness.
You think Jerry Jones is holding out on giving Dak a contract for a specific reason? Is there somebody coming out in the draft in the next year or two you think Jerry's got his eyes on?
Not 100% sure on that one.
Because that one was one that was
pans out.
That was one that was weird to me. Is you got to sign that. You got to get him signed. With all these quarterbacks signing monster contracts for mid-level quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins, like Dak Prescott's obviously better than Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Jerry's thinking there, but I don't think Jerry knows what Jerry's thinking most days.
Hey, one day at a time, okay?
One day. All right, but back to hockey. How do you think this Edmonton Vancouver series ends?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Edmonton's going to win it, but there's a chance that Vancouver just gets that streak of luck and is able to muscle it out. But I see Edmonton taking it when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think it's going 7. And anytime a game goes 7, it's flip a coin to figure out what's going to happen.
Right.
But Rick Tocchet's a great coach in Vancouver. I still think Edmonton has it because I think McDavid's just going to refuse to lose. He's just one of those players. You guys got one of those guys in Wyatt Robertson right now, who, by the way, I really like that kid a lot.
Yeah, he's great.
I love the way he hustles every single play. He's gonna be one of those studs for you guys for a lot of years. And then the other one, Jake.
You talking about Stankoven?
No, the other younger kid. You got
Harley.
What's his freaking name?
You got Logan Stankoven. Logan's the one that just came in. Are you talking about Maverick? Maverick Bork has been hanging around the AHL?
No. You got Mira Heiskanen and Jake Robertson.
Oh, okay.
Jake Robertson was the one I was thinking of. Actually read an interesting article. I forgot to send it to you about Colorado and Dallas when it came to Cale McCall or Jake Robertson. I forget who picked first, but essentially the other GM was, we were fine with whoever they were picking. We were just going to take the other one because they picked back to back from each other. The year with McCall and Robertson, or Heiskanen rather. That said, McCall last night willed that willed that team to victory. He had a good game. Tonight, I don't know what both these teams look way too tentative. It's not like the Rangers Canes game. Everybody came out flying, going 100 miles an hour. Ashton says the Goff contract screwed up the negotiation for Dak. That makes sense because Goff got paid. And in all fairness, he deserves it.
Right.
He brought the Rams to a Super Bowl. People forget about that. And then he got the Lions a playoff victory for the first time since Barry Sanders played football. Like,
yeah,
pay the man at that point. So who do you think Dallas needs to be their difference makers next game? Give me one guy you think that'll be at the top of everybody's list, and then give me like your unexpected like hero.
Yeah, so it's going to be Chris Tanev.
Okay.
Look at last night's game. The game before, the entire team was a shot blocking machine. They kind of let that slide a little bit last night. And so you saw a lot more shots just getting on Ottinger, which obviously got to get it to the net for each chance to score. So the game before, there was a lot of shot blocking going on. So I really feel like Chris Tanev was a heavy part of that. Pavelski blocked a few as well. But I feel like that was what was missed. So definitely Tanev is who I'm looking to for tomorrow night to go ahead and close it out. And we'll see, Logan Stankovic's had so many amazing breakaway chances where he just hasn't quite sealed the deal. I think he's going to be one that kind of shines next game as well.
All right. So I'm going to make a crazy prediction for you here.
Gotcha.
We're going to be up till about 3 a.m. for the end of this game, and it's going to be Joe Pavelski who scores a double overtime winner.
Oh, snap. Well, I will not be up, but you tell me how that one goes at 3 in the morning.
Oh, I won't say until 3. That'll end, at double overtime. Yeah, it'd be like 2:30. Right. I might be up at 3. But, I think we're in for – we haven't had one of these playoffs, one of those like real deep overtime games, and there always seems to be one, especially in this round, in the semis, the conference semis, and yeah. I think the Avs, because they don't have Nichushkin, they're all just playing on pure like we got to do this for us,
right?
Guys like Parise who've never got to hoist a cup before, the Stars are too deep. Like, you guys can roll out 4 lines, and without Nichushkin there, you guys got to worry about 2 forwards,
right?
Like, in all honesty, so I think you guys got it, but I think it's going to take pulling teeth to get the Avs to get out of the playoffs. I mean, you're talking about these guys know how to win a cup. And these guys know how to make deep playoff runs.
For sure.
So what do you got? What do you got happening when we go back east?
Man, that one's it's. I didn't expect Boston to hang on this much. So, I still think Florida will push through just because they're Florida. They're going to do their thing. They have that tenacity, have that grit. But I don't know. There's something that tells me, it may end up going 7, and it may be like an overtime festival as well.
I mean, that would be fun. Everybody loves game 7s in overtime,
right?
I don't see Boston eking out another win on the next game. I think Tkachuk's had enough of Boston, and I think he just takes over the game because we've seen him do it before. We've seen him take over an entire series before.
Right.
I just think he's got that ability to just push. And, Bobrovsky, when he wants to, he's, the second best goalie on the planet. Second or third best goalie on the planet. It's just a matter of getting his head screwed on straight.
Uh-huh.
I think Verhaeghe's going to be big for them again in Game 6. And I think Marchand being out is going to be what cost the Bruins Game 6. They're not officially saying he's out because it's the NHL and it's an injury.
Right.
So we'll see. But I don't think he's playing. I think it's dumb the NHL won't just say, hey, he's got a concussion, and they're hiding the injuries. Because we all saw him get rocked in the jaw.
Right.
the replay, you can see you see the fist come up as he's making contact and just clunk.
Yeah.
A total Marchand move if there was one. He just went the other direction this time.
Yeah.
Now, as for the Eastern Conference Finals, I think we both had Carolina going.
Yeah, for sure.
Neither of us had the Rangers beating Carolina. I think that's the only one we've got wrong so far. I brought it up earlier. There was an article up here about whoever wins that Rangers Carolina series. Actually, no matter who wins, you lose.
Uh-huh.
That series, those teams are not. The Rangers are not going to have much gas left in the tank. They got to be praying Florida Boston goes 7.
Yeah.
Because they've been beat up that entire series, and all it's going to take is the Panthers, who are bigger, just leaning on them a little bit, and they'll crack. But we missed out on what would have been a fun special episode on Saturday because my buddy Chris swore up and down there was no chance the Rangers were winning.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, dude, there's no way that Laviolette is going to be one of the only coaches who's ever won after being down 3 games. And then he's going to be the first coach ever to be down 3 games and win a series and then be up 3 games and lose a series. There's no way. And with Igor Shesterkin there, and he told me that after Game 4, after the Rangers lost Game 4. I'm like, dude, you can shave my head live on camera if the Rangers managed to muff this series the rest of the way up.
Oh, God.
So that was what was going to happen. And in mine and him and my buddy Adam's group chat, they were all sending pictures of Clippers. I'm like, guys, you're not threatening me with anything. Like, I need a haircut anyway. Like, whatever.
Oh, gosh.
That's
funny.
That said, you got any other sporting news we should talk about? We talked Stamkos, where he's going to land. We talked coaching.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to talk about it just because I feel like I need to. Did you see that cross check on Hint's hand? And who threw that cross check?
No, I missed it.
Okay, so we all know Jamie Benn got his issues with Stone. What was that, 2 seasons ago, where he got kicked out?
Yeah.
For that. So directly on his wrist, right before he got injured, Nathan McKinnon to Roope Hintz. Bam! And all of a sudden he's gone. But it's not going to get looked at because that's the golden boy of the NHL. So we're not going to investigate. There was a lot of chatter around the kind of the Facebook groups and different things like that around the NHL. I just think it's a little bit sketchy. So it kind of, and just the same thing as when I think it was maybe Game 2, we were up like 5-1, and there's like 90 seconds left, and the announcers were like, they've still got a chance. Don't count the Avs out yet. It's just kind of silly, but it was a blatant shot to the wrist, and then right after that sequence, Roope goes off, and he's out pretty much for the rest of the series. So I just thought that was interesting.
I mean, you got to remember it's a playoff, so guys, the refs are going to let things go. And you know who's in charge of NHL discipline right now?
Who would that be?
George Peros.
Oh.
The pride of Princeton, New Jersey.
Lovely.
Big old mustache. Remember the goon? He was a goon his entire time in the NHL.
Yeah.
Wonderful man. Very nice guy. Most of those goons are. But you're not going to get something as small as that looked at. When Brad Marchand getting literally sucker punched in the middle of the ice doesn't even get a second look.
Right.
In my opinion, and that's up to your captain to take care of then. Throw the mitts down, Jamie. Although there might be people who don't want to drop the mitts with Jamie Benn. He's not a small human.
Right.
He's definitely a monster of a person. But I could see frustration from your fans there. There's always going to be frustration like that. And how long do you say he's out for? The East? Did they say?
No, they're currently just running tests, so there's no definitive answer on that one just yet.
So hopefully not a broken wrist.
Right.
I mean, even if it's a broken wrist, he should be. Oh well, he might be back if you guys make it to the finals. Yeah, about 3 to 4, depending on the break, because there are guys who just play with broken wrists if it's not so severe that deal with it in the off season.
Right.
Wow. All right, I looked down, talked to you. Vancouver tied it, and then 10 seconds later, Edmonton took the lead back.
Oh wow.
Not literally 10 seconds, but it was like a minute. That's the other one is that I don't think Vancouver is going to get over losing. His name is escaping me now. Starting goaltender. Wow, I suck today.
Let me see. Demko.
Yeah, Thatcher Demko. Thank you.
You got it.
The kid's been good, but rookies don't often carry NHL teams to championships. There are exceptions to the rule. You got your Patrick Waugh, you got a couple other guys along that list. Cam Ward for the Hurricanes, another young goalie. Marty did it in his I think it was his second full year as a starter in '95. But you're talking Marty, greatest of all time. Patrick Waugh, I think, did it at 1 or 2 years in the league as well. Also in the conversation of greatest of all time. Cam Ward's the only one on that list that you're like, huh, that's weird, because he fell off. He fell off real hard. I don't know how closely you followed hockey at that point in time, or the Eastern Conference at all. But Cam Ward just fell off a cliff somehow.
Oh wow.
Not literally. I'm saying statistically.
Yeah, no, I got
it. Yeah, no, he was rookie of the year. Got Carolina to the finals. And then just went downhill. Oddly enough, somebody posted something that I didn't remember about hockey. Arturas Urbe played for you guys for a short while there, apparently. I didn't remember that at all.
Oh wow!
I remember him in San Jose, and then Carolina. I didn't never realize he played for you guys.
Yeah.
Saw somebody at the game yesterday on TV rocking a Joey Nieuwendyk jersey. I was like, man, that's a blast.
Blast from the past.
And he came to us after you guys. I liked him. I liked him here in New Jersey.
Yeah, it was good.
That said, way too early prediction. Who you got winning the Conn Smythe this year? Playoff MVP.
Ugh. I mean, McDavid's obviously in that conversation.
That requires them to, actually get past the conference finals.
That's true. So we'll go ahead and go with Wyatt Johnston, Dallas Stars, number 53, baby.
That would I'd have to look that up, but if he wins, that would have to be the youngest Conn Smythe winner in history at 21.
Let's get ready.
All right. I think the pick, because I think Florida's winning it all. I think the pick from Florida's pretty obvious. Matthew Tkachuk. He's just one of those players, man. And you guys got 2 of them, which is really good, because you got the rest of your roster is basically, the old folks home.
Right.
I think you guys have like the second oldest roster in the NHL, something like that. It's nuts. But it's working out for you guys. You guys got 4 deep lines.
Yeah. Got the layers going.
And then the Bill Masterton Award was announced today. That is the award for player that most exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to ice hockey. So, it's basically like the comeback player of the year, for lack of a better phrase.
Okay.
So Connor Ingram, I hate this, of the now former Arizona Coyotes. He won it. It was announced yesterday. He almost quit hockey because of mental disorders, with depression and OCD. Entered the player assistance program, and he led the league in shutouts this year.
Okay.
And then he did something not a lot of goalies can say this season. He won 4 consecutive games against the last 4 Stanley Cup champions, all in 1 week.
Nice.
He won. So good for him. Good for him getting himself some help. Hopefully, Nichushkin has that same sort of result where he can turn himself around.
Right.
I think it was who said it. It was one of the Avs said, he made his choices. He's got to live with them. And at least the NHL's got an assistance program, to where they're not just going to abandon the guy.
For sure.
He's not getting paid.
Right.
I said, have you seen the new cover of EA Sports NCAA football, which, by the way, I'm more excited for than I should be?
No, I haven't.
Quinn Ewers is front and center, on the with his back, because they're advertising the fact that they get to use names for the first time.
Right.
Which, by the way, EA Sports basically did the equivalent of Office Pizza Party by saying to these kids, hey, if you give us permission to use your likeness, we'll give you a free copy of the game and $100, I think is what it was. I read it and I'm just like, that's ridiculous.
Wow.
You guys are going to sell, this is the most highly anticipated sports game in my lifetime. I don't remember a sports game having this much hype behind it. And yeah, your offer is, if you let us use you in the game, here's a copy. That's such a shitty move by EA Sports.
Right.
I mean, they're not exactly known for being ethical, but that one's kind of funny. And then, you got anything else you want to talk about hockey sports wise? Wrestling's been cool as hell. If nobody's watching the WWE, you're missing out.
Right. No, I'm gonna. These next few days are gonna be, obviously really, really important as we through the finish of some of these series to kind of get us to the next round. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if Dallas can close it out tomorrow. We'll see what happens tonight between Vancouver and Edmonton, and then obviously I think the world is watching Boston and Florida, just because it's just a fun series to watch. You're guaranteed you're going to see somebody get punched in the face every game.
Oh yeah. That game is. I can't believe I'm saying this. That series is more physical than Boston versus Toronto.
Right.
And that shouldn't happen. It's Boston versus Toronto.
Yeah.
That said, you got anything you want to plug? You got anything cool going on this week with you, outside of work? How's the kid doing? You 3D print anything cool this week?
Yeah, I just sent out one of those. You seen the movie Red Notice?
No, I'm not.
With The Rock. Okay. Well, they had this egg. It was like an Egyptian treasure golden egg. I've sold 10 of them. So I just sent another one off to Tennessee this week. So it's a 36-hour print. So got that bad boy shipped and on its way. But yeah, outside of that, just same as usual, just kind of staying glued to my NHL scores.
That's all we can do this time of year, isn't it?
Right.
If that brings us to that, there was one other thing that I texted you about that I'm now not remembering, because when you hit your head a lot as a hockey player, you tend to forget a lot of things.
Oh, you were talking about that hit in the Rangers game where the guy just dropped?
Oh, the Jacob Trouba, the attempted check, the one where he dove over him. No, not that one.
Okay.
We did the key injuries. Ooh, there's the one we did not talk about that you brought up. Who's getting traded this offseason? Because you know Mitch Marner's done in Toronto. Toronto's going to tear it down.
Right.
And by tear it down, they can't completely tear it down because they can't get rid of Tavares. No one's going to take that contract. And Austin Matthews, where are you going to send him? And who's got enough assets to trade for him?
Right.
So I don't think we're going to see those big blockbuster offseason trades that we've been seeing lately.
Yeah.
Unless McDavid forces Edmonton to trade him, which always is possible. But I think you'll see guys. You'll see like your mid-level guys move. You'll see a few goaltenders move this year. I think you'll see from my Devils at least. You'll see Alexander Holtz move. For some reason, the entire management and coaching has completely soured on that kid. He definitely needs to change the scenery. Being benched nearly every game, and you're not even giving him 10 minutes to establish himself in the game. You're giving him like 3 minutes, and then you're benching him for the rest of a 60-minute game.
Right.
And then you're making him a healthy scratch. I see him moving. I see this one's going to be tough for them to do. I see Connor Hellebuyck moving. I know he's an older guy, so he's going to go to a team that's in win now mode. I see Boston's going to have to move on from either Swayman or Ullmark. You got to name a starting goalie. You're not going to be able to afford to pay those two very, very shortly.
Right.
So you'll see that move being made. Outside of that, I don't think we're going to see anything till the draft.
Yeah.
Like we're going to get free agency. We'll probably get a couple of trades before like in that in between period of July 1st to the NHL draft. Which, by the way, the NHL draft is in the Las Vegas Sphere this year. That'll be interesting.
Right. It should be interesting for sure.
I mean, I've seen videos from there. I feel like I get motion sickness just sitting in one of those chairs.
Right.
It's like one of those 3D rides at Disney where you don't like, where you're like, oh my gosh, my ears and my eyes don't agree with what's going on right now. I'm so dizzy.
Yeah.
It should be a cool event though. I'm going to watch it on TV. Mm-hmm. I think what you're going to see a lot more of this year. I don't think we're going to see goalies go in the first round, but this first round is sneaky deep. Devils are picking at 10, and at 10, you're going to get a player this year that can start in the NHL next season. Unless you pick a defenseman. Defensemen take longer to develop.
Right.
Other one I see being moved, Brent Burns. I think will be moved from Carolina because I think he'll ask to go somewhere else. Thinking because he's the only thing that guy's doing right now is chasing the cup. He's Ray Borking it right now. He just wants that cup. He's been in the league Brent Burns has been in the league probably like 13 years now. He's played over 1,000 games, no cups. One of the best offensive defensemen of all time. One of the best defensemen, period, of his generation. I think you're going to see him go to another contender because I think Carolina is going to try to get a little younger on the back end. Because you got Martinook there, you got some of those other guys there that are great. But you still got the Jordan Stalls and the Brent Burns of the world, who those guys aren't going to play forever.
Right.
So I see Brent Burns getting traded for some younger assets. Outside of that, I think Utah is probably going to be the one that's chasing people.
Yeah.
For trades.
For sure.
Because they made a big fuss about getting this team. They've been working hard to get this team. They're investing, a couple $100 million in upgrading that stadium.
Right.
I think their next moves are going to be, all right, how do we build a team that, can at least go 500 this year?
Right.
So you're going to be they're going to be looking at, and you got to bring in a marquee name player. It's what you do when you bring a team to a new city. Like the Stars, you guys already had Mike Modano. You guys had it built in. Colorado, they had Joe Sakic, and then they traded for and got Patrick Waugh. The Devils had Kirk Muller, and Herb Brooks was the coach, and Chico Resch, who was a big name at the time, was the goalie. So when you have those new franchises, you got to bring in the big name, put butts in the seats. That's the whole point of this. It's at the end of the day, it's owners are trying to make money.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's an interesting idea. Is who does Utah chase to be their first marquee player? We know Vegas went Stone and Fleury. Utah is going to have to chase somebody.
It's a good question.
I don't think they could pay Steven Stamkos enough to ever live in the cold like that again.
Right.
Unless he was going home or going to New York. Trying to think of who could be who could be their Mark Stone, for lack of a better phrase. If New York gets bounced, they're going to look to move on from maybe a Mika Zibanejad or a Chris Kreider. That could work.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, maybe they'd look to Long Island and try Kyle Palmieri out of there. But Kyle Palmieri's from North Jersey. I don't foresee him agreeing to go all the way to Utah. Maybe Matt Barzal. That actually is an interesting thought. Matt Barzal might be the one you chase. Just because he's eventually going to get tired of being one of the league's best passers and losing all the time.
Right. For sure.
And then Ovechkin apparently this past week said that he thought the Caps were going to trade him.
Yeah.
At the deadline. That's one of those guys I can't imagine in a different jersey.
Right.
But it could happen. Who do you think's getting traded this offseason?
I need to sit down and kind of look at everybody and just look at the playing field and kind of see what the options are. Spend a little bit more time in front of each of the rosters and I can give you a breakdown.
Yeah, I mean, I just, off the top of my head, I'm just like, I don't see a lot of spots where people are going to be willing to move outside of Toronto. Toronto's going to trade Mitch Marner. And they're probably going to trade Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
So those two, you can pencil in as being traded. Outside of that, it's just going to be goalies, realistically.
Right.
You might see a couple other names, like if the Rangers, get swept next series, you'll see a couple of names move from that roster. Outside of that, I don't really see many. I don't see this as a very active offseason until the draft and then after the draft.
Right.
And even then, I don't see a ton of movement. Teams are starting to realize the way you build a roster that's successful is you build it through the draft. You don't try to bandage a team together. You make the trades, you make the free agent signings for the one or two players you need to get your core that you drafted up over that hump.
Right.
But that said, I think we've covered everything. So I'm going to go watch the game. And if you guys don't follow us, we're Peak One Sports. Just hop on there. Me and Adam here are going to eventually create our own Shut the Puck Up podcast Facebook page as well. But yeah, definitely give us a like, give us a share, watch the other shows. Dan's got a great show every Wednesday night. The sports page, I'm on there sometimes. Ashton's on there. Ross is on there. Adam, I think you've been on there. Just make sure you're keeping up with us because I know most of you guys are from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Unless you're watching on my feed, then you're from up north.
Right.
Which kind of makes great sense because you'll get the stuff from there, and then here. We got a good cross country appeal here. Just make sure you're giving us a like and a follow. Really does go a long way, guys. But Adam, man, anything else you wanna leave us with?
Yeah, it definitely is a Cowboys year. I just want to go ahead and throw that back out there.
It is okay. He's calling it now. Go get it tattooed. Just get it tattooed right here on your forearm. And then just cross it out every year they don't do it.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us on the Shut the Puck Up podcast. Yeah, a bunch of mother puckers. We will see you guys next week.
Catch you later.